explain why would Basel, IMF, BIS, World Bank allow XRP to take over the financial system they control? So if you want to take it back to Bretton Woods in 1944, when they decided to use the U.S. dollar, the U.S. had the most gold reserves at that point, and we were the largest creditor nation. We're down to today is the largest debtor nation, right? We have $38 trillion in debt. Now, if you look at percentage to GDP, we're still not as bad as Japan or the UK or some of these other countries. All that being said, back in 1944, John Maynard Keynes proposed the Bancor coin, which would be a basket of currencies that was weighted based on the GDP of different nations, that would sit as the liquidity mechanism, or basically the lender of last resort. When people needed money, they would go to the IMF and they would get Bancor. Today, that's been converted to the SDR, or the special drawing right, and they are going to move things on the blockchain and use the eSDR, or the electronic SDR, which is again got 6 different currencies. It's weighted based on the GDP of those nations. Maybe 7. I think it's 6 though. I think there's 6 currencies in the SDR. XRP will not be the SDR, but they need some way to be able to facilitate value transfer globally, real time, without them having to trust one another. And this is really the only agreed upon system that all of those parties have looked at, vetted, done due diligence on, used, trialed, and got to market with, that they feel comfortable using, that accomplishes all of the goals that they would like to have in order for the IMF to sit as the lender of last resort, in my opinion. So that's my thesis as to why, all of this is culminating to the use of the XRPL and XRP. You could also look at the IMF. They wrote a white paper in 2014 where they referenced the exchange rate peg, or their acronym XRP. Very shortly after that white paper was released, Ripple rebranded Ripples, which is what XRP had been rebranded from XNS when OpenCoin had it. They rebranded again to XRP in 2014, and it's been XRP ever since, after the IMF released that white paper referencing XRP as the exchange rate peg. We've seen Ripple meet with all of those bodies that you just mentioned. They've spoken on multiple panels with all those different people at those organizations. And it's a net benefit for them to move into this new system where there is no central bank or no single global reserve currency.